The gate awakens. The galaxy was quiet, but not at peace. Stars burned with their eternal light. Planets spun slowly in their orbits, and trade ships moved between systems as always. But then, without warning, something deep in the dark of space stirred. It was not a star, not a planet, but something far older and far more dangerous. The Shadow Gate, a giant ring of black stone and unknown metal, had slept for thousands of years. Every empire in the galaxy knew about it, but they called it a myth, a ruin of no meaning. Scouts who went near it reported strange signals and broken sensors, so most ships avoided it. It drifted at the edge of a dead system, silent and cold, like a door no one dared to touch. But on this day, the silence ended. A ripple of power spread out from the gate, moving faster than light. Sensors screamed in every major empire. Alarms lit up in research stations, and fleets turned their attention toward the dead system. The pulse was not natural. It was a signal. Something inside the Shadow Gate was alive. On the council world of Syraxis, alien leaders gathered in their great hall. Tall insectoid Vexar clicked their mandibles nervously. Scaled Thaler hissed warnings, and the cold-blooded Sirai whispered in fear. They all asked the same question: what woke the gate? But one race did not look surprised. The humans. The human ambassador sat in silence, his face calm but his eyes sharp. He did not join the panic. He only said, "It begins." The other species mocked him, laughing that humans loved their legends too much. They called Earth a young world, a minor race, too small to matter in the affairs of the galaxy. But their laughter felt thin, their voices weak, because even they could feel it. The gate was not just a ruin, it was a weapon waiting to open far from the council chambers. Deep space probes sent by explorers flew near the gate. One by one their cameras flickered and died, but before the signals cut, they caught glimpses of shadows moving. Not random shapes, but lines of steel, armor plates, and lights that glowed like sleeping eyes. Ships bigger than any the galaxy had ever built, waiting in the dark. Back on Earth, the silence in command centers was heavy. Old generals who had retired were called back into service. Hidden bunkers opened, and codes that had not been used for centuries were unlocked. Earth knew this day would come. Humanity had left something behind the Shadow Gate, and now the galaxy was about to remember it. On the outer colonies, traders whispered to each other. They spoke of human fleets lost long ago, fleets that had vanished into the gate during a war no alien remembered. The stories said those ships were not destroyed, but sealed away, waiting for the day they would be needed again. Most aliens laughed at such tales, but the humans never laughed. They treated the stories as truth. As the hours passed, the gate grew brighter. Black stone cracked with glowing lines of energy, and the ring began to hum like a giant engine. The sound carried even through the vacuum, vibrating inside the hulls of ships that dared to get close. Alien admirals sent fleets to surround the gate, hoping to control it. They thought if something was coming, they could trap it, study it, maybe even steal it, but in their hearts they were afraid. The first strike of terror came when a small, alien scout ship entered the gate. Its signal stayed live for only a minute, then cut to static, but in that last minute, the galaxy saw a shadow larger than mountains. The pilot's scream echoed through the comms before the line went dead. The last words were broken, but clear enough. "They are awake." The news spread like fire. Worlds panicked. Governments demanded answers. Why did the gate open now? Why did the shadows look like warships? And most important, why did humans sit so calmly, as if they had been waiting for this moment? In the council chamber, voices rose in anger. The Vexar accused Earth of hiding the truth. The Thalor demanded control of the gate, and the Sarai hissed about punishment. But the human ambassador only stood, his voice quiet but strong. "We told you not to mock us. We told you the gate was not empty," he said. "You wanted proof. Now you will see it." The chamber fell silent, because far away across the stars the Shadow Gate gave one final shudder. The black stone split apart like opening jaws, and something massive began to push through. Lights blazed, engines roared, and metal the size of cities moved. The galaxy had thought humanity weak, small, unworthy of respect. But now, as the first shadowed warship emerged from the gate, the truth was clear. Earth had never been weak. Earth had been waiting, and the wait was finally over. Whispers of a forgotten fleet. The shadow gate still pulsed with light. The first warship that drifted out was only the beginning, and the galaxy knew it. The size of the ship alone shook every admiral, every soldier, and every leader who watched the transmission. It was not just a ship. It was a floating fortress, its armored hull scarred by battles from ages long forgotten. The engines glowed with power no alien had ever seen. It was silent, but its silence felt heavier than words. Across the stars, whispers began to spread. Merchants in crowded stations repeated the same story. "The lost human fleet has returned," they said. Some laughed nervously, calling it human propaganda, but even laughter could not cover the fear in their voices, because deep inside they all knew the truth. No race builds a ship like that unless they plan for war. In the markets of the Thaler homeworld, traders argued over old texts. One claimed the humans had fought a war against something nameless centuries ago. Another said humanity had betrayed itself and sealed its strongest warriors away. A third whispered that humans had never been weak, that they had only hidden their power. The stories clashed, but all agreed on one thing. The fleet was real, and it was awake. On Earth, the streets were strangely calm. The ordinary people went to work, children went to school, and life moved on. But beneath the surface, every city felt the change. Military bunkers lit up, secret bases powered on, and hidden command stations received encrypted orders. Old veterans, who once fought with outdated ships, now stood ready to serve again. It was as if Earth had been waiting for this moment, and the world was not surprised, only prepared. At the Galactic Council, the other empires gathered in panic. The insectoid Vexar demanded answers, their voices clicking in rage. The cold Sarai hissed that Earth must be punished for hiding such power. The Thaler called for the destruction of the gate before more ships emerged. But when they turned to the human ambassador, he only leaned forward and said, "You cannot destroy what you do not understand." His calm words cut through their anger like a blade. For the first time, the alien leaders began to see that humanity was not afraid of them. No, it was the other way around. As the arguments filled the council chamber, more signals came from the Shadow Gate. Alien fleets surrounding the system sent out live streams of what they saw. Shapes moved inside the gate, massive shadows drifting closer. The light of engines flickered like distant stars. The sound of power surging hummed through their scanners. Every second, the fear grew stronger. Then the gate shifted again. This time, it was not one warship, but three. They moved slowly, their hulls covered with ancient symbols no alien could read. Their weapons glowed faintly, waiting. Together, they looked like hunters circling prey. The galaxy stared, silent and frozen. The lost fleet was not a rumor. It was real, and it was rising. On a distant outpost, an old alien historian trembled as he opened a dusty archive. He had studied human records for decades, laughed at by his peers for believing in legends. But now, as he read the words, his hands shook. The text spoke of a pact. When Earth was young, when humans were still fighting to survive against countless threats, they built the fleet and hid it behind the gate. The deal was simple. The fleet would sleep until the galaxy mocked humanity again. And when the day came, the fleet would rise to show the stars that Earth was not prey, but predator. The historian sent a message to his government. Do not anger them, do not fight them. For if the old pact is true, then Earth's fleet is endless, he warned. But the leaders did not listen. Greed and fear blinded them. They still believed they could control what was coming. On the edge of the Shadow Gate, the alien fleets tightened their formation. Dozens of ships, cruisers, and battleships aimed their weapons at the dark circle. They thought numbers would give them courage, but even the bravest soldiers whispered in secret, "What if those ships are stronger than all of us?" The human ambassador returned to his quarters. He did not speak to the aliens again that night. Instead, he looked at a small screen where orders from Earth's high command appeared. The message was short, only one line. Hold steady. The fleet remembers, and far away the ships that had waited for centuries began to awaken fully. Engines roared like thunder, weapons powered up, and shields shimmered across hulls as wide as continents. The galaxy had mocked Earth for too long, but now the whispers spread faster than light. Whispers of a fleet that would change everything. Whispers that the galaxy's future no longer belonged to them. It belonged to humanity, and the Shadow Gate glowed brighter because this was only the beginning. The mockery ends. The Shadow Gate burned brighter than ever. Its glow spread across the system like a second sun. Alien fleets circled it like vultures, but their weapons stayed cold. They waited, afraid to fire first, but desperate to show they were in control. On the Council homeworld, the arguments grew louder. The Vexar shouted with their clicking voices, demanding Earth hand over all codes and knowledge of the gate. The Serai hissed, calling humanity a danger to all life. The Thaler raised their scaled fists and promised to destroy the warships with their unstoppable fleets. Their words were sharp, but their fear was sharper. In the middle of the storm, the human ambassador stood calm. He looked at them with steady eyes and said, "We warned you, yet you still mock us." The aliens laughed, nervous and forced. They called him a liar, a dreamer, a manipulator. But even as they mocked, they could not erase the images of those massive ships rising out of the gate. A Thaler general slammed his hand on the table. "Humans are weak, their fleets are lies, their ships are old rust," he declared. "Give us one day, and we will show the galaxy what becomes of human myths." The Council roared in approval, desperate to believe in his strength. But deep inside, doubt poisoned their hearts. The order was given. The Thaler sent 3 full fleets through the gate. Hundreds of ships, their guns ready, their soldiers chanting. The galaxy watched the broadcast live, every channel showing the same feed. At first, it looked like courage, like power. But then the screams began. The first fleet vanished within minutes. The second followed, their transmissions cut by static and fire. The third managed to send back a final image, giant shadows moving in perfect formation, weapons firing in silence, tearing battleships apart like paper. The last voice heard from the Thaler fleet cried, "They are not old, they are endless." The feed went dark. The Council chamber froze. The mocking laughter of the aliens ended in silence. No one dared to speak. Even the loudest critics of Earth felt their throats close. They had seen proof, not rumor, and proof was far more terrifying than legend. In the outposts across the galaxy, civilians whispered, "The humans were right." Some said, "They warned us, but we did not listen." Others added. And in the marketplaces, traders spoke of an ancient promise that Earth would never start the war, but Earth would always finish it. On Earth itself, preparations deepened. In bunkers hidden under mountains, human commanders watched the reports. The old war codes were unlocked. The generals knew what the galaxy did not. The fleet beyond the gate was not abandoned. It was not broken. It was waiting for its orders. And those orders had just been given. Meanwhile, the alien leaders fought among themselves. Some demanded to retreat and hide. Others called for unity against the humans. But unity was impossible. Greed and fear poisoned every empire. None of them trusted each other, and that distrust would soon destroy them more than any weapon. The human ambassador rose again. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He simply spoke, calm and cold. "You mocked us. You ignored our warnings, and you sent your fleets to die." His words echoed in the chamber. The time of laughter is over. Then he left, his steps steady, his silence heavier than any weapon. Back at the gate, the shadows grew. More human warships emerged, their hulls lined with scars from ancient wars. They did not look weak. They looked eternal. The ships formed in a perfect wall, their weapons humming, their engines silent but powerful. The alien fleets surrounding the gate began to retreat. Their courage broke. For the first time in centuries, the Empires knew fear. And then a single human voice cut across every channel. It came from the first warship, deep and steady. "We are the fleet you forgot, we are the fleet you mocked, and we are awake." The words rolled across the galaxy like thunder. They shook worlds, shattered pride, and silenced laughter. The mocking age was over, and the galaxy now realized that humanity had never been prey. Humanity had only been patient. The gate still glowed, and behind its burning light even more shadows waited. The true fleet had not yet risen, but soon it would. The first warship rises. The galaxy had fallen silent after the death of the Thaler. Fleets, billions across countless worlds, watched their screens in horror. What they had seen was not a rumor, not a human story, but cold truth. The Shadow Gate was no ruin, no myth. It was a doorway to power that no one else understood. For a long moment, nothing moved. The alien fleets that had once surrounded the gate now drifted back in fear. Their admirals whispered frantic orders. Their soldiers prayed to strange gods. No one wanted to be the next to enter, yet they could not turn away. Because the light inside the gate grew brighter still and something massive was coming. The first shadow emerged like a mountain pushing through fire. Metal plates the size of cities gleamed, scarred with marks from battles long past. The ship moved slowly, but every movement carried weight like thunder. It was not just a warship, it was a dreadnought. And it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever built. Alien scanners screamed with confusion. Their computers could not measure the size correctly. Some said the ship was 50 kilometers long, others claimed 100. All agreed on one thing: it was too big to exist. Its engines flared with power beyond their understanding, and its weapons glowed faintly like stars ready to burn. The council chambers erupted with panic. The Sarai demanded immediate attack. The Vexar wanted the gate destroyed no matter the cost. The Thaler screamed for revenge for their lost fleets. But not one dared to move first, because deep down they knew. Their weapons could not destroy this ship. Their fleets could not stop. Their pride could not save them. Inside the dreadnought, lights flickered to life after centuries of silence. Human voices echoed through ancient halls of steel. Soldiers in dark uniforms moved with discipline, awakening systems, running checks, preparing for orders. The crew had not aged. The old stasis fields had kept them alive, waiting for the signal from Earth. And now, after generations, the signal had come. The ship's command bridge glowed with blue light. A single figure stood at the center. His uniform was old, his face lined with time, but his eyes were sharp as fire. He placed his hand on the console and the entire dreadnought obeyed. The galaxy outside waited in terror. Then his voice, human and strong, carried through every channel. "We are the fleet you forgot," he said. "We are the shield you mocked. We are Earth's hand, and we have returned." Billions heard those words. They shook the halls of alien parliaments. They echoed in the streets of colonies. They reached even the smallest mining stations at the edge of space. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood that Earth was not weak, Earth was not silent, Earth was rising. The dreadnought aligned its weapons, but it did not fire. It only drifted forward, slow and unstoppable. Its shadow fell across the alien fleets nearby. Their ships looked like insects beside it. Pilots trembled, commanders hesitated, entire armadas retreated, because in their hearts they knew, if this one ship could stand against them, how many more were still inside the gate? Back on Earth, High Command watched the live feed. The generals stood at attention. They whispered one line to each other: "The first has risen." But they knew this was only the beginning. The gate still glowed with untold power. And inside, more ships were waking. The alien governments argued in secret meetings. Some wanted to flee to distant galaxies. Some wanted to kneel before humanity. Others swore to gather every weapon and fight. But no matter their words, their fear betrayed them. The age of mocking humanity was over. The age of kneeling before Earth was beginning. The dreadnought's commander raised his voice once more. "To those who mocked us, your time is ending," he said. "To those who stood with us, your future begins now." Then the ship turned its massive guns toward the stars. It was not aiming at the alien fleets, it was aiming deeper, beyond them, toward the darkness where the next enemy waited. Because the fleet was not built to fight empires. It was built to end wars before they could begin. The galaxy gasped as the second warship began to rise from the gate. Its shape was even larger. Its glow even stronger. The humans were not showing a relic, they were showing a promise sealed in blood and steel centuries ago. And now the promise was awake. The first warship roared with life. Engines shook space itself. Weapons lit like suns. And across the stars, a new truth was spoken. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was predator. And the hunt had only begun. Shadows over the stars. The first dreadnought had risen, but the shadow gate was far from silent. Its glow spread across the dead system like rivers of fire. The black ring pulsed again, deeper, stronger, as if something inside was pushing to break free. And then the galaxy saw them one by one. More ships emerged, colossal vessels, each scarred with ancient marks, each glowing with hidden power. They moved in silence, their shadows stretching across the stars. 3, then 5, then 10. Until the sky itself seemed to bend beneath their size. Alien fleets tried to keep formation, but fear broke their discipline. Captains whispered to each other in panic. "Our weapons won't even scratch them," one said. "We are looking at giants," another muttered. The dreadnoughts drifted into perfect formation. Like wolves circling prey, not a single shot fired. Yet every alien soldier felt the weight of death pressing down. The council chambers exploded with shouting. The Sarai screamed for a unified strike before the humans grew unstoppable. The Vexar demanded the gate be sealed forever. The Thalor, burned by the loss of their fleets, swore vengeance at any cost. But unity was a dream they could not reach. Every empire thought of its own survival first, and fear made them blind. On Earth, High Command remained silent. The generals did not rush. They did not boast. They only watched as the ships of the lost fleet took their places among the stars. Orders were short and clear. Hold the line, remind the galaxy. And the ships obeyed. The dreadnoughts lit their weapons, not firing, only showing their power. Rails that could split moons, cannons that glowed with the heat of suns, shields that bent light itself. The galaxy gasped, because no empire alive had built weapons like these. These were not tools of defense. They were tools of judgment. Meanwhile, whispers spread faster than light. Across markets, taverns, and colonies, people spoke the same words. Earth was never weak. Earth was never small. Earth was waiting. Even alien civilians began to question their leaders. If humans had hidden this much power, what else had they hidden? If one fleet could rise, was there another still sleeping? The alien coalition formed in desperation. 5 great empires, rivals for centuries, now stood shoulder to shoulder. They gathered their largest fleets, tens of thousands of ships. They swore to crush the humans before the balance of power was lost forever. But their oaths were brittle, made of fear, not loyalty, and fear breaks faster than steel. The human ambassador spoke one final time in the council chamber. "You think numbers will save you, but numbers mean nothing against those who do not fear death," he said. His words froze the hall, because every leader knew what he meant. The human fleet had slept for centuries without breaking. Their patience alone was proof they were not like the other races. Out near the gate, the alien coalition began its move. Their fleets aligned, millions of guns locked onto the dreadnoughts. The commanders shouted with false courage, "Fire on my mark!" But their voices shook. They did not face machines. They faced legends. Inside the human dreadnoughts, crews prepared calmly. They did not panic, they did not rush. For them, this was destiny. They had been born for this war, trained for this exact day. Their stasis sleep had preserved not only their bodies, but their mission. And now the mission was alive. The first human commander spoke across every channel. "You wanted to see our strength," his voice thundered. "Now you will see what wakes in the dark." His words echoed across ships, across worlds, across hearts. Even alien civilians who hated humanity felt a shiver of awe. The alien coalition gave the order, "Fire." Thousands of weapons lit the dark. Missiles streaked forward. Plasma cannons roared. Beams tore across the void. The sky itself burned with their fury. The galaxy held its breath. But when the fire cleared, the dreadnoughts still stood. Their shields shimmered like silver storms, untouched, unbroken, unafraid. The humans had not fired yet. They had only shown what survival meant. And the alien fleets, for all their power, realized the truth. They were fighting not against Earth alone, but against history itself. History wrapped in steel, sharpened by patience and fueled by vengeance. The shadow gate pulsed again, brighter, louder. Something far larger stirred within. The dreadnoughts began to shift position, making way, and the galaxy's fear deepened. Because if these ships were only the vanguard, then what waited behind them would change everything. And in the silence before the storm, humanity whispered to the stars, "The age of shadows is over." Fire and fury. The galaxy had seen wars before, but nothing like this. Never had so many fleets gathered in one place. Never had so much firepower been aimed at a single enemy. And yet, the humans stood silent. The alien coalition spread across the system. Hundreds of thousands of ships in tight formation. Their weapons glowed. Their shields burned bright. Their admirals shouted orders meant to sound like courage. But every soldier, every pilot, every officer felt it in their bones. They were about to face something they could not understand. The human dreadnoughts floated in perfect silence, their weapons still locked, their engines still calm. But silence was not weakness. It was warning, and the galaxy had failed to listen. The alien coalition fired first. The void lit up with endless fire. Missiles streaked like comets. Beams split the dark. Plasma storms raged across the stars. The sky itself seemed to burn. The shadow gate shook as the combined power of 5 empires struck the human fleet. For a moment it looked like the end, but then the fire cleared. The dreadnoughts still stood. Shields shimmered like oceans of light, bending and twisting physics itself. Alien weapons had hit with everything they had, and still, not a single human ship had fallen. A silence heavier than death spread across the alien fleets. And then the humans answered. The first dreadnought fired. Its railgun lit the void with a beam of silver light. The shot ripped through space, crossing thousands of kilometers in seconds. One alien battleship vanished in an instant, torn apart with no time to scream. The second dreadnought fired next. A cannon of burning plasma tore a hole through an entire formation. Dozens of alien ships were gone in one blast. Then the third dreadnought fired. Its weapon split moons into dust. The coalition watched in horror as their fleets crumbled. Panic spread faster than orders. Captains screamed. Admirals cursed. Pilots begged for retreat. But retreat was impossible. The dreadnoughts did not chase, they hunted. Each shot was precise, each strike devastating. Alien fleets that had ruled the stars for centuries were broken like glass in the hands of giants. The council worlds received the live feeds. Civilians wept, soldiers froze, leaders hid behind empty speeches. No one had believed Earth could truly rise. No one had believed the whispers. And now, they could not deny it. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was fire. Inside the dreadnoughts, human crews worked without fear, their hands steady, their eyes sharp. They had been trained for this war before the galaxy even remembered their names. This was not rage, not chaos. It was purpose. The fleet had not slept for nothing. The fleet had been waiting for the moment when patience ended, and patience had ended today. The alien coalition fought back with desperation. They threw everything into the storm. Swarm ships sacrificed themselves, ramming dreadnought shields. Massive superweapons charged, firing blasts meant to destroy worlds. But the human fleet endured. Every strike failed. Every sacrifice wasted. And the more they tried, the more they realized the truth. They were not fighting against ships. They were fighting against inevitability. Then the shadow gate pulsed again. This time its glow was blinding. The dreadnoughts shifted formation, making way. Something larger, darker, older stirred inside. The alien fleets hesitated, because if these warships were only the beginning, what was still waiting behind them? The first supercarrier began to rise. Its size dwarfed even the dreadnoughts. Its shadow stretched across suns. Alien scanners broke trying to measure it. Their computers simply failed. They could not understand its size. They could not understand its purpose, but the humans understood. This was the heart of the fleet, the beast that would command the hunt. Alien admirals screamed for retreat, but retreat was already too late. The dreadnoughts closed in, weapons thundered like storms, fleets shattered, ships burned, stars lit with fire. And through it all, the humans spoke only one truth. "This is the judgment you mocked," the commander's voice roared. "You wanted war. Now you will taste it." The galaxy had thought humans were weak. The galaxy had thought Earth was small. But now, as their fleets crumbled into ash, they finally understood. Humanity was not small. Humanity was fury. The war was no longer about survival. It was about remembrance. The galaxy would never again forget who humans were. And the Shadow Gate still glowed because the storm was not over. It was only beginning. The final revelation. The battlefield burned. Alien fleets were broken. Their once proud armadas scattered into dust and fire. The dreadnoughts of Earth stood in silence, their weapons cooling, their shields glowing faintly. But the Shadow Gate still pulsed. Its light was not dimming, it was growing. Something even greater was coming. From the heart of the gate, the shape appeared. At first it looked like another dreadnought, but as it moved forward, its size eclipsed even the giants, already risen. The alien fleets that remained tried to scan it. Their computers screamed with errors, unable to measure the full length. Their systems shut down in fear. The commanders whispered the same word: impossible. The ship emerged fully, a supercarrier, so vast its shadow swallowed entire moons. Its hull stretched like a continent forged of steel. Its armor glowed with markings written in the oldest human language, a language no alien could read. It carried not hundreds but thousands of smaller ships locked within its bays. The galaxy gasped as the truth became clear. The dreadnoughts were hunters, but this was the hand that unleashed the hunt, the supercarriers. Engines roared. The sound rippled through space itself. Alien crews wept in silence as they realized no weapon could touch it. Their fleets were broken, their leaders powerless, and now they stood beneath the shadow of something eternal. The commander's voice echoed once more, strong, steady, filled with iron. "We are the fleet you mocked. We are the shield you feared, and we are Earth's judgment." His words spread across the galaxy, carried by human transmitters that no one could block. Every colony, every homeworld, every station heard the truth. The age of mocking humanity was finished. The age of respecting humanity had begun. Some aliens fell to their knees before the screens. Others screamed in rage, but none could deny the truth. The balance of the galaxy was broken, and humanity held the weight. The supercarrier opened its bays. From within, smaller warships poured, out like swarms of steel. Not weak, but sharp and fast. Each one armed, each one ready. The galaxy had believed the fleet was a relic, but now they saw it was an army. An army hidden for centuries. An army waiting for this moment. The alien coalition was finished. What remained of their fleets fled into the dark. But their retreat was meaningless because the memory of this day would follow them forever. The day when Earth rose. The day when humanity showed the truth. The day when shadows became fire. In the council chambers, silence ruled. The alien leaders looked at each other, pale and broken. None dared to speak. None dared to move. The human ambassador stood once more, his voice quiet but unshaken. "You called us weak. You called us prey. You laughed at our warnings," he said. "But now you have seen, and you will not forget." Then he left, his silence heavier than any threat. Across Earth, people cheered, but their celebration was not wild. It was solemn. They knew this was not the end. The gate still glowed. Something deeper still stirred. Inside, something that even humanity had not yet revealed. The human commander stood on the bridge of the supercarrier. He looked into the burning light of the gate, his eyes hard, his voice quiet. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. His crew stood ready, their hands firm on controls. They knew the truth. The gate did not just hold the fleet. The gate held something else, something older, Something, waiting. The galaxy trembled as the light grew once more. A second pulse spread out stronger than the first. Planets shook, stars bent, time itself seemed to stretch. The war was not over. The fleet was not the end. The gate was still opening. And as the last of the alien coalition fled into the shadows, humanity's supercarrier blocked out the suns. Its voice thundered one final promise. We warned you. Now kneel or burn. And in that moment, the galaxy finally understood. The fleet was awake. The war had only just begun, and behind the shadow gate something far greater still waited.